I have been driving long haul for 11 years. Refrigerated freight mostly. Dairy. Produce. The kind of cargo that has a clock on it from the moment it leaves the dock. You learn to move fast and sleep when you can. And after a while, the highway stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like a condition. Just something you exist inside of, mile after mile, state after state, until home starts to feel like the detour and the road starts to feel like the point. I am not the kind of person who tells stories. My wife will confirm that. I come home, I eat, I watch whatever she has on, and I go to bed. I do not sit around the table spinning yarns about the road. Most of what happens out there is not interesting to people who have never done it. Way stations, dock wait times, the specific misery of a truck stop bathroom at 4 in the morning, the way a long flat stretch of highway can look identical for 90 miles and somehow still feel like progress. But I carry two stories I have never been able to set down. Not because they are fun to tell, because they are the kind of thing that settles into the back of your thinking and stays there, quiet and patient, until you are alone on a dark stretch at 2 in the morning and your brain decides it is time to go through them again in full detail. I will start with the one that happened first. There is a rest stop on Route 9 in Central Oregon that I had been using for about 4 years. Nothing special about it. Concrete block bathrooms, a row of pull-through spaces long enough for a rig, a single vending machine that worked about half the time, but it was clean and quiet, and far enough off the main road that you could sleep without traffic shaking your windows every 20 minutes. I knew the rhythms of that place the way you know anywhere you return to regularly, which spots held heat in cold weather, which direction to park to block the early sun, how long you could idle before the guy in the next space knocked on your door and asked you to cut the engine. Not romantic, just familiar. 4 years of familiar. The first time something broke that pattern, I nearly missed it. I pulled in around 11 on a Tuesday in late October. The lot was almost empty. One other rig parked near the far end. Lights off. Engine cold. I got out, stretched, used the bathroom, grabbed something from the vending machine, and walked back to my truck. The other cab had its interior light on now. It had been dark when I arrived. I told myself someone had woken up, climbed back in, reclined the seat, and went to sleep. That was it. I did not think about it again for 3 weeks. But I want you to hold that detail, because it matters later. The second story starts the way a lot of things on the road start. A detour I had not planned for. I was rerouted through eastern Washington in February of last year due to a closure on my usual corridor. It added about 90 minutes to the drive and took me through roads I had never run before. Long flat farmland on both sides, the kind of dark you only get when there are no towns for 30 miles in any direction, and the sky is overcast, and there is nothing to catch or hold any light at all. My heater smelled faintly burnt the way it did every winter. My coffee had gone cold somewhere around mile 80. Around mile marker 214, I saw a diner set back from the road. One story, a yellow sign with the name in red letters, lit up against the dark. I do not remember the name now. I have thought about it many times since. It is gone from me completely, the way certain things disappear after a night that changes the shape of your thinking. I pulled in because I needed coffee, and I needed to stand up straight for 5 minutes. Inside, it had the feel of a place that had been exactly the same since 1974, and considered that a virtue. 4 booths along the window, a counter with 6 stools, an older woman behind the counter who did not look up when I came in, just reached for a mug and set it down in front of an empty stool without a word. I sat, wrapped both hands around it. The ceramic was thick and warm. The coffee smelled like the real thing. That was the last ordinary moment of that night. There was a man at the far end of the counter, both hands flat on the surface. Not eating, not drinking, not looking at anything I could identify. Just sitting with a stillness that felt less like rest and more like something held in suspension, like a held breath that had been going on for longer than a breath has any right to. He turned his head and looked at me. His eyes were the color of fog, not gray, not pale. The actual absence of color that fog has when you are standing inside it and cannot find where it ends or where you begin. I looked away, drank, kept my eyes forward. When I looked back, the stool at the end of the counter was empty. I had not heard him move. The space around it looked clean and undisturbed, like nothing had been there at all. I asked the woman behind the counter how long he had been sitting there. She refilled my mug without looking up and said she had not seen anyone come in that night except me. I paid and walked out to the truck, started the engine, pulled back onto the highway. 4 miles down the road, my headlights caught him on the shoulder. Same jacket, same posture, hands at his sides, facing the oncoming lane, standing there as if he had been in that spot for hours. I did not slow down. I did not touch the brakes. I passed him and kept my eyes on the road ahead and did not look in the mirror until I was well past the next bend. I drove the next 60 miles without the radio, without checking my mirrors more than I could help, without letting myself work through the math of what I had just seen. A man inside a diner, a man on the road 4 miles later, the time that existed between those two moments, what it would have taken to close that distance. I still run that stretch when the route calls for it. I have not seen him again. I think about what that means, whether the not seeing is an ending or just a different kind of the same waiting. Most nights I leave that question where I found it. The loads do not wait. And there are some things that drive better when you leave them in the dark behind you, where the mirrors do not reach.